Good morning. I know not everyone's finished eating, but we have a lot to get through this morning, so I'd like to get started. Um, what a, what a great kickoff to Pride in Des Moines this weekend. Um, Welcome to First Friday Breakfast Club. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Do you hear it? Okay, sorry. I'm Byron Huff, FFBC president. My pronouns are he, him, his. FFB is an association of LGBTQ individuals, and their allies formed in 1996 as a 501c3 entity, making contributions tax deductible. In 1997, first year for FFBC, we awarded one $3,000 scholarship. We are awarding a record $63,000 to 21 remarkable humans this morning. I also want to add FFBC was awarded LGBTQ Organization of the Year at Capital City Pride Gala. We are proud to be recognized for our efforts the past 30 years. This is 30 years. Hence our beautiful logo created by one of our board members, Wade Peterson. He's become very talented in his retirement. Our speaker this morning is Zachary Russ. Zach is he, him, his, is executive director at Iowa Safe Schools. He has devoted his entire career to higher education and philanthropy and is excited to be guiding Iowa Safe Schools during this critical time. His extensive background in nonprofit management, leadership development, and fundraising equips him to implement innovative programs that promote respect and inclusion across Iowa. Growing up in Northwest Iowa, Zach understands the unique challenges faced by students and families in rural communities. As a first-generation college student, he graduated from Simpson, igniting his passion for educational equity and advocacy. Most recently, at Ellipsis, Zach led strategic initiatives aimed at enhancing organizational visibility, fundraising, and fostering community partnerships. His philanthropy philosophy, or philanthropy, gosh, I have trouble saying that word. Philanthropic philosophy emphasized the importance of dignity for all kids and families, further preparing him to lead Iowa Safe Schools. Now, as executive director of Iowa Safe Schools, he's committed to advancing the organization's mission through collaborative partnerships with educators, community organizations, parents, and policymakers. Please join me in welcoming Zach.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Pride Month. I think that's tall enough for me. Again, good morning. My name is Zach Russ. Before I share my story, I want to start how we start every team meeting at Iowa Safe Schools every Tuesday morning with some gratitude. So thank you to Iowa Safe Schools Board of Directors. Thank you to First Friday Breakfast Club. And thank you to my amazing team at Iowa Safe Schools. Jordan, our Director of Education, who trains over 3,000 educators every single year. To Damian Thompson, our Director of External Affairs, who stays at the Capitol late nights and early mornings to make sure policies support queer and trans youth. And Hannah Mitchell, our Director of Youth Engagement, who leads our GSA network and makes sure that we truly serve young people the way they need. And to Mark, our Office Administrator and Registrar, who is also an FFBC newsletter contributor. Yeah. Together, they are the heart of Iowa Safe Schools. Thank you to every donor who believes in this work, not just at Iowa Safe Schools, but at FFBC, at One Iowa, at Capital City Pride, at QYRC, at the Des Moines Pride Center, at the Rick Miller Library, and many other nonprofits doing this work. When you support these organizations, you're not just supporting a movement, you're providing life-saving support for our community. And thank you to all of you who are here today, who care about young people and who understand that belonging is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So I'm going to tell you where I come from. I grew up in Northwest Iowa, where the two main forms of entertainment were watching corn grow and waiting for corn to grow. It was a small conservative town, the kind of place just like Cheers, where everyone knows your name. And church is part of life several days a week. And people actually voted for Steve King back then. A place where you learn early on exactly what's expected of you. There was not, let's say, a lot of representation. So if you told little me that I grew up to stand in a room surrounded by generations of queer and trans leaders, brilliant young scholars, and allies who show up, he would have never believed you. He'd have assumed it was the fever dream brought on by too much time in the cornfields. But here's the truth underneath that joke. I knew I was different, even before I had words for it. When we played house, I noticed the difference between having to play parent with a girl and getting to play parent with my neighbor boy. Yeah. Before I even understood what being gay meant, I knew I didn't fit the mold. I was 8 years old when I learned what happened to people who didn't fit. My piano teacher was kind to me. He saw something in me musically and made me believe I could make music. He showed up for young people and made church feel like a less of a place of judgment and more like a place of belonging. He was fired, not because he wasn't good at his job, not because he didn't serve our community, but because he was gay. I remember that moment. I remember the whispers. I remember the adults trying to explain it to me with gentle words. They didn't soften the truth, though. Even at 8, I understood what it meant for me. If people found out who I was, the same thing would happen. That experience changed everything for me. It taught me early on that there are things you don't say, there are people you don't become, and parts of yourself you learn to hide. For the 10 years that followed, I put on somewhat of a believable performance. When I arrived at Simpson as a first generation college student, I had become an expert at living a double life. Now, across the state, I see young people like my nephew living that same double life. I see them shrink and disappear into themselves. This isn't just my story. It's a story of everyone who didn't fit in, who learned to manage their existence just to be safe. If I had to guess, I might guess that many people in this room know that feeling. The feeling of being surrounded by people while at the same time feeling utterly lonely, constantly afraid someone might find out who you really are. Many of us felt that in places that were supposed to be safe, in schools, in churches, with our families, and in communities that claim to care. In 2004, I brought all of those feelings and defense mechanisms with me to Simpson College. I couldn't escape the need to hide, and the production of living a double life kept getting heavier. But then something changed. I found professors who really saw me, not the version I was performing, the actual me. And they created space for me to be honest in ways I'd never been before. They didn't just tolerate who I was, they celebrated it. And that's where I came out and finally stopped running from myself. It felt like a weight had been lifted, and I was able to exist more as me than I'd ever been. I was present, I could take up space, and I started to breathe a little easier. That's when I realized the difference between a place that just tolerates you and one that truly welcomes you. My time at Simpson gave me what all of the scholarship recipients today give queer and trans youth across Iowa: hope. It was graduation day in 2008, and the gym at Simpson was extra muggy. It was kind of a weird day because I was just walking across the stage and I wouldn't get to accept my diploma because I had a bill still with the college. However, when I got to my seat, I found a small gift with a note. Congratulations on receiving your diploma. There was no signature. And it was then that I made a promise to myself. I never want another young person to have to wait to know and to be supported by someone who cares. I never want another 8-year-old to feel like who they are is dangerous. I never want another kid to spend years waiting to become themselves. But I also realized something very important. When you choose to show up for someone before they know they need you, you're not just changing lives, you're often saving them. And that choice changes everything for queer and trans youth. The team at Iowa Safe Schools frequently meets students who have never met a supportive adult, let alone an openly LGBTQ adult. We meet transgender students who spend every day calculating which spaces are safe and which aren't. We meet young people who are carrying burdens far heavier than any teenager should have to carry. We meet educators forced to implement vague laws and risk their well-being for supporting all students. Not all LGBTQ youth across Iowa have a supportive adult. They're still navigating alone, and they're still trying to figure out who they are in spaces that don't welcome them. They're still learning that their existence is something to manage rather than to celebrate. Here's what should concern all of us. My success depended on luck, on whether the right friend or the right adult was in the room at the right time. Everyone has needed someone at some point. That need isn't about being gay or straight or rural or urban. It's simply human. No young person's future should depend on chance. Our job isn't just to hope more good people show up. It's to join these scholarship winners and create schools and communities where being seen is the norm, not the exception. Everything I've done in my career comes back to one question. What would it look like to build belonging not for just a few kids, but for every school and community across the state? And that's the question that brought me to Iowa Safe Schools. And here's what I've come to understand. The conservative communities, like the ones I grew up in, where I learned to hide, they aren't the enemy. The people aren't bad. It's the systems we've built. They're broken. When the binary is your only option, it's nearly impossible to do anything other than fit into the box that society created. Right now in Iowa, that brokenness has a name. Senate File 496. It's a law that pressures schools to scrub library shelves of diverse stories, restricts curriculum, and forces schools to out transgender students to their parents. It turns institutions meant to protect kids into places where they have to calculate safety before they even take a seat. That's why our team fights day in and day out, because every student deserves to exist in a classroom, in a church, and in their community without a target on them for just being who they are. For transgender students especially, these aren't just political debates. They're about whether simply existing at school is worth the risk of being targeted. In 2002, a few very wise Iowans knew that if we were going to change things, we had to do it here, in the heartland, where the work is the hardest and the most needed. Iowa Safe Schools was born. We are guided by our core values. We're tenacious, we are hopeful, we are empowering, and we are strategic. Our strategic plan is built on 6 pillars: rooted in trust, stronger together, programs that reach, investing in tomorrow, built to last, and led with integrity. Our work reaches all 99 counties, powered by a team I mentioned earlier. Again, Jordan works with countless educators, youth-serving professionals, and faith communities. Damien represents us at the lobby and around the state. Hannah leads our core mission, and Mark keeps everything coordinated. Together, we deliver life-changing, often life-saving programs. The Governor's Conference on LGBTQ Youth, now in its 21st year, has welcomed tens of thousands of youth. Our Safe Schools Academy trains educators to create classrooms where LGBTQ youth can thrive. GSACon helps students drive change in their schools. And the Spirit Awards, which is on October 9th this year at the Tea Room. The tickets will be available soon. Are to recognize those people who stand up when queer and trans kids need it most. Our advocacy work changes policy and changes lives. And with what I keep calling the 99 County Collective, we're continuing to build a movement of adults, of young people, and allies in every county in Iowa who believe that LGBTQ youth deserve to be safe, seen, and celebrated. The 99 County Collective is more than a network. It's a statement. It's about finding compassionate people in every county who believe you shouldn't have to choose between truth and belonging. Iowa Safe Schools doesn't wait for young people to come to us. We go to them. We ask, what would it look like if you felt safe? What if the adults in your life truly celebrated who you are? Then, together, we make to work that a reality. Scholars and guests, here's what I want to leave you with. Keep being the person who shows up. Be the person who sees an LGBTQ young person and says, I see you, I believe in you, you belong. Now that looks different depending on where you are. In Des Moines, you might volunteer, mentor a young person, or help create safe spaces. In rural Iowa, you might be the one trusted adult who makes all the difference. Being the adult in the room matters, but it's not enough by itself. One person can't reach every county, and that's why we're building the 99 County Collective. Since I'm here as a guest, I'm not going to ask you to get your checkbooks out and donate, but I do want you to know what your support makes possible. It's not one single act of kindness. It's the infrastructure that puts a trusted adult within reach of every young person in all 99 counties. It sends a young person to our governor's conference, puts a trained, affirming teacher in the classroom, and turns belonging from luck into something that every person can count on. If you want to learn more, there's me and a couple staff members here. You can come find us after. But before I wrap up, to the scholarship recipients, you are the leaders that we've been waiting for. You weren't invited here just to receive a scholarship. You're invited here because your courage is the blueprint for the world that we are building. To the chosen family members and mentors and supporters sitting with our scholars, thank you. You are the invisible force making their brilliance possible. You're the quick smile that lets them know they're safe. Every young person in the state deserves to be safe, seen, and celebrated. That starts with those who choose to show up. Thank you to our scholars for leading by example and showing up. And thank you for everyone for being here today.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Zach. Educators are not appreciated enough for their important role guiding children as they grow and go on to be productive adults. Everyone wants to feel like they belong and are appreciated. LGBTQ individuals face many hurdles feeling like they belong. Now on to our scholarship awards. I'd like to introduce Ken Hansen, FFBC Vice President and Scholarship Committee Chair, and co-presenters Aria Shipton and Max Mowitz.
First, those in the far room, feel free to move your chairs anywhere you want to so that you can see better. If that means bringing your chair into this room, that is perfectly acceptable. So we do want you to be able to fully participate. So feel free to move your chairs around. Good morning. My name is Ken Hansen, and I'm the chair of the Scholarship Committee, as Byron mentioned. Students, families, FFBC members, and guests, welcome. We're so glad you're here. This morning, we honor 21 outstanding student leaders who have fought homophobia and promoted LGBTQ+ acceptance in their Iowa high schools and communities. This is a celebration of the brilliance, resilience, and boundless potential within our state's queer youth and their allies. We gather here not to just award financial support, but to honor the courage of students who lead with authenticity from the Luss Hills of Western Iowa to the Mississippi. In a world that often asks us to dim our light, your achievements prove that being true, your true self, is the greatest academic and personal asset. This morning, we celebrate your journeys and invest in a future where every young Iowan has the resources to dream big, with a community to back them up. Let's begin with a few acknowledgements. Thank you to our scholarship committee members who put in so many hours reviewing and deliberating the record number of 58 student applications. That tells you the need is still there for our scholarship program. We paid extra attention to each applicant's unique situation, their communities, the opportunities available to them, and the impact of their actions in their environments. We ended up with a broad range of extremely deserving recipients. Will all those involved in the scholarship committee and/or school presentations please stand to be recognized? There's some in the back room too, so.
Hello, my name is Arya Shipston. I'm a member of the Scholarship Committee. You may have also seen me with the Des Moines Gay Men's Chorus or Transcendent. We also want to thank every single donor of the FFBC Scholarship Program. Without your support, we could not make this happen. We hope everyone will take time to look through the table program at the names of all of our amazingly generous donors. We were excited to set a record for scholarships last year, but today marks another incredible milestone. Today, we will set a new record with $63,000 being awarded to 21 scholarships. Absolutely. First Friday Breakfast Club has now given away $618,000 for a total of 244 scholarships since our first scholarship in 1997. Each scholarship awarded today is for $3,000. We especially want to acknowledge that 12 of our 2026 scholarships have been underwritten for the full $3,000 amount. We absolutely love and appreciate the generosity of our amazing underwriters. We would like to recognize them now by name, but you'll also see their names in the PowerPoint slides of the scholars, in your table programs, and on our donor poster. Our 2026 underwriters include Phil Bronner and Ted Johnson, Bruce Carr and Robert Thielen, John Karstensen and Scott Valbert, John Charles and David Nelson, Tom Koppas and Mike Koch, Michael and Barbara Gartner, Trudy Holman Hurd through the Dave and Trudy Holman Hurd Fund, Brad Holland and Joe Rates, Gary Moore, Polk County Board of Supervisors Community Betterment Grant through the support of Supervisor Matt McCoy, Jim Sturba, and Walnut Hills United Methodist Church in honor of Miles Phipps. Please show your appreciation for these amazing sponsors and allies with a round of applause.
Howdy, all. My name is Max Mowitz, and I am also a member of the Scholarship Committee, as well as the Executive Director of One Iowa and a 2011 scholarship recipient. I realized today that was 15 years ago, so I'm grappling with that. In the interest of time, we are going to focus on these wonderful students' effort to promote LGBTQ+ acceptance and to fight homophobia in their Iowa high schools and communities. Many of these impressive students have taken leadership roles in a range of local, state, and national organizations, demonstrating their personal passions. These students are truly impressive. They are also academic scholars. Time prevents us from sharing all of their participation in many school organizations, sports, and the fine arts. Most of the scholars also have part-time jobs and volunteer for a variety of organizations. Another group today that we want to acknowledge is the family and friends who are joining us today. Your support provided the foundation of love and security these students needed to excel both academically and personally. By embracing their authentic selves, you have modeled the kind of courage and acceptance that makes this world and this community a brighter place. This scholarship is as much a testament to your guidance and belief in them as it is to their own remarkable hard work. Would all of the scholar family members and supporters that are here today please stand so you are able to receive our warmest appreciation.
Okay, today is all about these wonderful young adults, so let's finally get to it. Awardees, when we announce your name, please make your way to this side of the podium so the Zoom people can see you as we share a few words about you. Once you're presented with your plaque, we will take a photo or two, and then you can head back to your seats. Parents and guests, you're invited to take photos all morning long. Now on to the awards. Bryn Almond is a graduate of Roland Story High School. Bryn lives in a deeply red area where it's sometimes difficult to find LGBTQ plus support. Bryn is not ashamed of her sexuality and has been a beacon of support for others who are struggling to come out. She worked to make her GSA a bonding experience and a place to find trusted community allies. Bryn works to preach acceptance and show that LGBTQ plus people are no different from anyone else. She told us that the phrase, "You can be whatever you want to be," does not stop with sexuality. Amen to that. Bryn's counselor said, Bryn has navigated challenges with maturity, becoming increasingly confident, collaborative, and selfless. Her achievements reflect the character and resilience she brings to every opportunity. When I think of our best students at Roland Story, I think of Bryn. Bryn plans to attend Simpson College to study psychology. She hopes to help people understand how to live well and to the fullest. She is excited to meet a new welcoming community of LGBTQ plus people and also to try to mend the misconceptions of the non-accepting community. We think that sounds amazing.
Our next scholar is Annabelle Baggett from Exira Elkhorn Kimbolton High School. Wow, that is a mouthful. Because of the large issue her district has with bullying, hate speech, and discrimination, Annabelle attempted to start the first GSA at her school to educate the student body and protect those being mistreated. Even after rounding up officers and filling out vast amounts of paperwork, the administration unfortunately created so many hurdles that eventually the club was put on hold until next year. But the foundations and Annabelle's legacy have been put in place. She hopes that the younger students will be strong enough to push this through next year. Her math teacher said she is precisely the type of student who leverages intellectual curiosity with practical, high-level execution. Annabelle is graduating early as a junior and will attend the University of Iowa. She first plans to pursue a degree in biology and then become an exotic animal veterinarian and work at a zoo. In college, Annabelle plans to join LGBTQ plus clubs for support and community. Ideally, this is where she hopes to meet her future wife, dance off into the sunset, and have children who are educated and understanding.
Claire Coffey is from Carlisle High School. Claire is a strong ally for LGBTQ plus students. She told us about backlash from a chorus video where a pride flag in the choir room offended a parent, forcing them to remove it. To many of her friends, the flag was a symbol that said, "You're safe here. You're not going to be judged. You can be yourself." Representation matters. Claire became an officer in the GSA and during Culture and Identity Month, took initiative to focus on LGBTQ plus topics and organized a panel discussion where students shared their stories. She also attended the Lead Des Moines Youth Leadership Program, which works with Des Moines area students to develop leadership skills and promote inclusivity. One of Claire's teachers described her kind heart. "I have witnessed countless instances of her welcoming others and offering a bright, encouraging smile to those around her." Claire is planning to attend the University of Iowa to study business and political science, perhaps becoming a high school history teacher or an entrepreneur who promotes acceptance and advocacy, standing up for those who are often overlooked or discriminated against. Bravo, Claire.
Congratulations.
Our next scholar is joining us via Zoom today. Cian Collins, who is a scholar from Pekin High School. In school, Cian stopped many LGBTQ kids from being bullied. As a kid who was bullied for being gay and different, they found it hard to just let people go through the same thing. They know how it feels to be hopeless, helpless, alone, and scared. Helping and defending even just one person can make an incredible difference. Cian shared that harmful stereotypes, like believing LGBTQ plus is just a phase, are belittling. Sometimes explaining why negative comments hurt and taking it to a teacher if it persists can help people a lot. It not only helps that person, but can also stop others from being fully bullied for the same reason. We agree. Cian's English teacher said that they are the kind of student every educator hopes to teach: capable, driven, collaborative, and deeply dependable. Cian wants to pursue a job in trades, specifically carpentry. In college, they want to construct safe spaces for people like them and to continue to speak up for people against people doing wrong things. We think you are building a great future.
Cian had a trip to Florida planned before they knew of our award. So we hope, Cian, you're enjoying Florida, but we would much rather have had you here. Our next 2026 scholar is Gabriel Konzemius from Ankeny Centennial High School. Gabriel was involved in a school program that teaches about understanding different viewpoints and working to become future leaders. Within this program, he worked to build a better and safer school culture focused on empathy by mentoring a small group of students about understanding minority issues and LGBTQ+ rights. Gabriel felt like he really got through to these students. One of his references said, "It can't be easy being LGBTQ+ and a person of color in a very straight, very white Ankeny, let alone Hispanic in the current climate." Where those parts of his identity are beautiful and should be celebrated, I know at times they have also added another layer of anxiety for him as he navigates through the challenges of high school and life in general. Gabriel plans to attend DMAC followed by law school at the University of Iowa for a career practicing law in Iowa as a state prosecutor. He hopes to make a difference not only for gay rights, but for minority rights as a whole. We can't wait to see how Gabriel's world opens up as he moves into the future. Congratulations, Gabriel.
We are honored that Benjamin Emmert from Moravia High School is our next scholar. Benjamin has felt the effects of anti-trans legislation when first figuring out their identity. Accommodations, a safe bathroom, and a legal right to be addressed the way that they wanted, were all taken away by the state of Iowa. Sometimes Benjamin still fears for his life and the life of all in the LGBTQ+ community. With time, Benjamin has grown bolder, and he finally broke out of his shell with more confidence to be more active in his school community and to perform and talk to others. Helping people became one of his greatest passions. One teacher said that he is one of the most diligent, reliable, and hardworking students I have taught. Benjamin plans to finish their junior year and graduate early. They hope to attend Iowa State University, double majoring in music performance and education. You better work. And then become a high school teacher. Benjamin wants the world to understand that trans individuals can do everything and anything anyone else can. And Benjamin hopes to be a guiding light for future generations of queer people. That's certainly music to our ears.
FFBC is thrilled to welcome Serenity France, a scholar from Ottumwa High School. The issue of discrimination and harassment toward LGBTQ+ people hits close to home for Serenity. At times, school has been rough when some students shamed and isolated her for being bisexual. Serenity believes we should meet people with love instead of judgment and hatred. Serenity lobbied her drama club to produce The Prom, a musical about a lesbian who faces homophobia and is told she cannot take her girlfriend to prom. Serenity got the lead role and was excited to help bring awareness for LGBTQ+ issues and to spread a message that would have a lasting impact. Despite some backlash, the show went on. Serenity especially wanted the queer audience members to feel seen. In fact, a friend later told her the show gave her courage to come out. Serenity will attend Wartburg College and wants to become a vocal music teacher. She wrote, "I want to advocate for those who feel they have no voice, especially those who are underrepresented and underappreciated." Serenity, we think your voice is already making a difference. Congratulations.
Congrats to our next scholar, Rylan Greben from Stanton High School. In his high school of fewer than 60 students, he has been called slurs and shut out of different groups of kids because of who he is. Rylan knows that many LGBTQ plus people are treated differently and are seen as less. He wants everyone to feel accepted, especially in public, like when he holds his boyfriend's hand on walks. If people are not allowed to be happy and be who they are in public, it is bad for their mental health. Rylan has also taken the initiative to confront students who use negative slurs. He has not been afraid to involve the principal, counselor, or parent for support. Sometimes small actions in a small high school can be huge. Younger kids look up to Rylan because he is always nice and accepting of anyone who talks to him. Being different doesn't mean you're less than or less deserving. Rylan said, "I want others to feel safe and normal around everyone. I want to make wherever I may go a happier place than it was before I was there." And we need more people like Rylan. Rylan plans to attend Iowa Western Community College next year and to try out for the dance team. Congratulations.
Greta Goromacki is our next scholar from Iowa City West High School. Greta is passionate about advocacy for gender-affirming care, especially for one of her close friends. She strives to support the outward expression of being truthful to one's internal identity. At school, Greta has helped reduce homophobia by co-creating a digital website full of resources about the LGBTQ plus community and a section about how to be an ally. The website is used to educate others, along with inclusive posters in the hallways that link to this website. She has encouraged fellow students to be allies to LGBTQ plus students by telling them, "Of course you can support others. You're human." Greta's goal is to study to be a screenwriter and director at DePaul University. She plans to write, direct, and hopefully produce films that advocate for her fellow members of the queer community. Greta's English teacher predicts that at college, she'll show up desperate to find and make meaning in the beautiful and the terrible, the extraordinary and the mundane. She'll read and write and live with joy and curiosity. Sounds like the role of a lifetime to me. Congratulations, Greta.
Remy Holiday is our scholar from Louisa Muscatine High School. Being a transgender student has been challenging in a small community. Remy has been unabashedly himself in middle and high school and made it known what they wanted to be called and what being trans meant. Remy was involved in their school's GSA, but it never lasted more than 2 or 3 sessions each time it started up. One of the things that Remy enjoys most is educating people and having meaningful discussions. They are not afraid to hold hands with their boyfriend in the halls and make it known exactly who they are while gently correcting people who do not use their preferred name. Remy's band teacher told us, "In my time as an educator, I have only taught a handful of students who have so wholeheartedly invested in the process of becoming the best version of themselves. Remy is one of those students." Remy will attend Loras College to study sociology and then continue on to law school. Remy enjoys advocating for justice and thinks there are too few people in legal positions who advocate for LGBTQ people. We concur. Congratulations, Remy.
Our next scholar is Ferdinand Hyatt from Valley High School in West Des Moines. At Valley, Ferdinand has been president of the GSA for the past 3 years. Ferdinand wants to educate others on intersex people. The concept of a sex that's neither female nor male seems to be confusing to the average person. Ferdinand often feels left out at Pride when flying their intersex flag because not many people know what that means. Ferdinand designed an informational poster featuring the transgender, non-binary, and intersex flags. When posters were torn down, Ferdinand fought to keep putting them back up, making sure the perpetrators had consequences and sending a clear message that homophobic behavior would be punished. Ferdinand's French teacher told us that what sets him apart is his character. He is kind, empathetic, and respectful, with a natural ability to connect with others. Ferdinand plans to go to Winona State University to become an ecologist. There's a group at Winona State that's centered on personal identities and intersectionality, and Ferdinand is excited to get involved and serve the LGBTQ plus community with them. Congratulations, Ferdinand.
Zachary Jones is another scholar from Carlisle High School. Zachary was influenced by his older gay brother's experience at a prom when the brother and his boyfriend were bullied. Zachary said, "The fact that most people in the LGBTQ community cannot go about their day without getting bothered just for being themselves is bizarre." Zachary is the president of his school's Rally Club, which attempts to increase the overall awareness of social issues, including LGBTQ plus issues, and to teach members how to advocate for themselves. The club takes students to the Iowa Safe Schools LGBTQ Governors Conference each year to help learn about the issues that face the LGBTQ community. Zachary's Spanish teacher told us, as a student body president, he sought to create inclusive opportunities and worked to ensure that student voices from a range of backgrounds were heard. Zachary will attend the University of Iowa to major in biochemistry and molecular biology. He will then apply to go to med school to become an orthopedic surgeon. He hopes to use his position as a doctor to get involved with politics and support the LGBTQ community. Congrats.
Next up from Hudson High School is Kenneth Kane. Kenneth is the first openly transgender student at his school and was the first trans person to graduate from Hudson High School last month. He told us that when living in a conservative town, it is almost impossible to not feel hopeless at times. Until he turned 18 this past February, he had to travel out of state in order to receive life-saving treatment. Transgender care has allowed him to become more confident and comfortable with himself. He has truly been able to become who he always was meant to be with this care. Kenneth prides himself on being an excellent student and involved member in his community. Being a strong role model for his neighbors is how he supports the LGBTQ plus community. Ken's yearbook teacher described him as an exceptional student whose creativity, intellect, and character distinguish him as one of the most outstanding individuals I have had the privilege to teach. Kenneth plans to attend Pasadena City College to become a screenwriter. He wants to increase LGBTQ plus visibility in the film industry by writing scripts that showcase authentic queer experiences. Congratulations, Kenneth.
Our first two scholars from Center Point Urbana High School is Colby Kriegel. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, Colby faced harassment and bullying for being different, especially in middle school. Her experience is something that she hopes others will never have to go through. It hurts their heart to see so much hate in what they once thought was a loving and accepting world. But Colby says, "I aspire to help those who are similar to me in identity and struggle. We as a community must continue to support and spread support despite how dark the world may seem today. During their freshman year of high school, they joined the school's DEI club in hopes of finding acceptance for their sexuality. The DEI club has hosted multiple events advocating for LGBTQ plus rights and to reduce homophobia within their local community, including a recent school walkout to protest anti-LGBTQ legislation in Iowa. Colby will attend the University of Iowa to major in English and creative writing and screenwriting. Colby has stories to tell and will try to implement LGBTQ plus themes to spread positivity about the community. We know that their next chapter of life will be amazing. Congratulations.
Marley Lytle is our scholar from Cedar Rapids, Washington High School. She led her school's GSA as president to make a positive impact on student safety and to have a place for students to be themselves. She organized many events at school and led a group of students to the state's GSA convention. Additionally, Marley, along with co-leaders of the GSA, talked with Iowa state senators and representatives about how anti-LGBTQ+ legislation would negatively affect them, only to have Iowa's governor sign the law to remove gender identity from Iowa Civil Rights Act the next day. Her advisor told us that she spoke with eloquence and courage to legislators who did not share her perspective. He also said that Marley was one of the most well-rounded students I have had the privilege of knowing. She exhibits an intellect, empathy, and initiative in rare measure. Marley hopes to attend the University of Chicago or George Mason University. I don't know if you've made up your mind yet. Which is it? George Mason, and plans to go into government and politics. She says, I will create policies to help the LGBTQ+ community and vote against laws that hurt us. We can't wait to see the lives you will change. Congratulations.
Alex McClure is our second scholar from Center Point Urbana High School. Alex is transgender and feels that living in such a small school district can be incredibly isolating. But as a freshman, Alex was already educating his teachers and peers with a presentation on gay rights activist Marsha P. Johnson. He also presented selections at the speech contests about the experiences of LGBTQ+ people. Before his GSA shut down due to state laws against DEI initiatives, the club was making the school more inclusive with various awareness events, including a walkout to protest the Don't Say Gay bill. Alex developed a zero-tolerance stance against any homophobia at school. Alex's chemistry teacher told us he is unapologetically himself, expressing his identity, interests, and values with a confidence that is inspiring. His bold self-expression sends a powerful message to those around him that it is okay to be who you are. Alex will attend the University of Minnesota for ecology and biology with a focus on plains and wetlands. He said, I've never seen much opportunity for queer people in STEM and conservation fields, and I want to change that. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Genesis Morelos is a graduate of Storm Lake High School. Even though Genesis grew up in a diverse town where people's identities and culture are part of everyday life, the growing effort to erase or silence LGBTQ+ identities is still challenging. As someone who is bisexual, Genesis understands firsthand how harmful that kind of silence can be. Schools should be places where students can feel that their identity is valid and worthy of respect. Genesis and a friend worked with the school administration to organize a student walkout in response to laws that restrict discussion of LGBTQ+ identities in schools. Genesis even spoke during the protest, standing in front of her peers and explaining why these laws mattered was one of the most meaningful moments of her high school experience. Her counselor called Genesis a scholar, leader, and changemaker. Genesis plans to study at a four-year university and major in political science, followed by law school. She plans to become a lawyer specializing in legal issues involving civil rights and protections for marginalized communities, including the LGBTQ plus individuals. We can't wait. Congratulations, Genesis.
Next, we have Brooklyn Nettermeyer as our Webster City High School Scholar. Growing up in a rural town, Brooklyn many times did not feel safe in sharing her true self with teachers or students for fear that they wouldn't understand. She identifies as asexual or ace. Brooklyn believes that we need to support each other no matter the identity, and we agree. Brooklyn is especially proud to have helped a questioning friend. Brooklyn was her safe space in discussing the LGBTQ plus community, and as a result, the friend later came out to her as bisexual, and they have since had deeper talk about queer identity. Brooklyn also tried to start a GSA at her school several times, but was not successful. Brooklyn's math teacher described her as the complete package, and one of the reasons she looked forward to work every single day. Character is one of her defining traits. She is one of the most caring, sincere, and respectful students I have taught. Brooklyn treats everyone she encounters with genuine kindness and patience. Brooklyn will attend Iowa State. After college, she would like to open a bookstore that is LGBTQ friendly. Brooklyn never had LGBTQ plus spaces in her childhood, so she wants to make one for others. Congratulations.
Our next scholar is June People from Des Moines Roosevelt High School. As a transgender individual with autism, June finds fighting for their community to be the most important thing. They watch as friends have issues getting hormone therapy. Despite this, these issues inspired June to persevere and fight for justice. June says, queer and trans joy is very important, and the community connection we surround ourselves with is contagiously empowering. Torment and abuse by classmates led to a long path of depression and self-harm recovery, but June continued to use their voice against bigoted classmates. They took part in many protests, and even though these student-led rallies put a large target on their back, June continued to resist. June's younger classmates confided that they felt understood and supported by this. One of June's teachers said that they were one of the most caring and helpful students I know. June will attend Iowa State and plans to major in fine arts. They want to help others find their way of expression and bring more creativity to help raise the future of young queer artists. We think you'll be successful in whatever life brings. Congratulations, June.
Ashton Robinson is our next scholar from Colfax Mingo High School. Ashton has been out as transgender since he was 12. He has been part of his school's GSA club since being a freshman. During the past 2 years, he has become president of the club, in which he tried his best to educate younger members of the queer history and what life can be like as someone who is LGBTQ+. Ashton has always been very open about his transition to those he knows personally and to those that ask kindly. Ashton would much rather give away personal details and allow someone to learn than have someone be uninformed. One teacher told us how much he was impressed by Ashton's leadership skills, ensuring every voice is heard and valued at their GSA club. Another of Ashton's teachers said, Ashton is an incredible student who I believe will go on and change the world for the better. Ashton will attend Grinnell College and hopes to major in English and then find a career to use his creativity to write through the eyes of differing characters, especially highlighting life in the LGBTQ plus community. Ashton said, "We need people to be a voice for the voiceless and to tell their stories." Congratulations.
Our final scholar is Georgia Steeples from Bondurant Farrar High School. The removal of gender identity in Iowa schools directly affected Georgia as a member of the queer community in both gender identity and sexuality. Not being able to express herself or be open about who she is and who she loves diminishes her life. Georgia is part of the Des Moines Teen Council, which educates teens and the community on different topics: queer history, sex ed, government, and gender identities. She recently went to Lobby Day at the state capitol with Planned Parenthood to fight against bills that could potentially harm the LGBTQ plus community. Georgia spoke directly with representatives about why high school students deserve access to comprehensive sex education. She even spoke in front of nearly 100 Planned Parenthood supporters. Georgia was also the vice president of their GSA club and educates younger students about rights, current bills, and what they can do in the face of discrimination. Georgia will attend Kirkwood Community College to work with birds of prey for education, conservation, and abatement, as well as doing other wildlife management. Congratulations, Georgia. And there they are, 21 of Iowa's brightest LGBTQ plus stars, each demonstrating that being true to yourself is the foundation of creating change and making an impact. Please join me again in congratulating all of our 2026 FFBC scholarship. I have a few quick announcements. FFBC will have a table at the Trans Live Festival at the Unitarian Church tomorrow, which includes performances by Transcendence, some movies, lots of other things advocating for the trans community. So I hope you all can drop in for that. I think it's from 10 to 5. We will not have a July meeting on the first Friday of the month. We will instead have a party on July 11th, Saturday evening, that is free to everyone, and it's at the Temple for the Performing Arts Recital Hall. We hope all of you will come to that. As Byron mentioned, we're the organization of the year from Capital City Pride, and we would love to have a strong contingent march with us in the parade. All you have to do is show up near the Capitol about noon on Sunday. We're number 3 in the parade, so you can march with us and you'll be done and you can still watch the rest of the parade. All you scholars and families, especially if you're in the local area, we would love to have you join us in the parade. Now, scholars, as we conclude, please follow Wade Peterson, the guy taking the photos. He's going to take you outside for some official group photos. These photos will be available for you to download from our website. Parents and guests, please remain behind until they return shortly. You will then be able to snap some individual and family photos as well. Outside, scholars can introduce themselves to each other and do a little networking. We hope you can begin some friendships that will allow you to stay in contact with each other as you head off to your college adventures. We also invite everyone to spend some time here at the beautiful Hoyt Sherman Gallery and Theater. Thanks to everyone who attended today, and we look forward to your continued support next year for the First Friday Breakfast Club. Please spread the good word that there is hope and joy in the state of Iowa. We hope to see many of you back in Des Moines next weekend for Capital City Pride. Thank you all for being here.
Scholars, if you'd gather right over here right away, we'll go outside and get some pictures and then you can get back to talking with people. Thank you. Yeah, I know.